brought me this Corvette. He called me up after looking at my videos, said that he couldn't get it to run, or if it did run, it ran on 4 or 5 cylinders, it wouldn't idle. So he asked me if he could tow it to me. So I said, okay, sure. So I looked at it. I saw that the fuel pressure was low. The vacuum, it had like 10 inches of vacuum. I said, man, I don't know what all is going on at this point, but let's take apart the throttle bodies first, because I know that the fuel pressure is low. They probably need rebuilding. So I started there. I started with the throttle bodies, rebuilt them, built them a fuel pressure gauge first, actually, to see that I only had 8 psi of fuel pressure. So rebuilt them, put them back on. The car still didn't really run right, and went through a bunch of different things, and eventually came up with the problem. I'll run that video a little bit later, but basically he had problems, and he just started putting a lot of parts into it. And new parts to me means it never ever worked, right? So I don't know that when you throw a half a dozen parts at something, I don't know if the half a dozen parts that you put in it are no good, right? So it's a hard place to start. As a mechanic, it was very hard being at the dealership and having a car that came from an independent or a gas station somewhere, and you know, they put $800 worth of parts in it and then couldn't get it to run, then bring it to the dealership and say, I don't know what's going on. One, tell me it's broke, so I got to fix it with no money. And 2, I look at it and it's all aftermarket parts. So it was a horrible situation to be in. But in any case, I got this thing together, and today we're going to adjust the throttle bodies on this thing. So what we'll do is we'll get the pressure, right? I've done a video on rebuilding them. We'll do the fuel pressure today. We'll do another video a little bit later, and we'll balance the Crossfire system out. And then I'll do one more video on the explanation of what I went through to find the problem and where it all came from. But I hope you guys can stick with me. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you learn something. And if you would, please like and subscribe to my videos. Thanks, guys. All right, so for you all that don't have that specialty Rochester tool that bends up there, I just want to show you real quick that even with these things on the car, if you take out these 5 bolts, flip this over, now you can get to that adjustment, right? So you can adjust it, put it back on, put your 5 bolts back in, and you'll be ready to go. Takes a little bit longer, obviously. You got to adjust it a little bit, look at your pressure, take it back off, but it can be done, right? Take out those 5 bolts, flip it over, get your needle nose in there, give it a little bit of a turn, put it back on, see what happens. All right, we'll take our tool, slide it up in that passage. Got it up there. Go ahead and fire it up, and we'll check our fuel pressure. The engine really started to come to life at about 11 psi. I took it up to 12 psi. It seemed to be very happy at that point, so I left it around 12. I've taken some up to 13, but seems to be running pretty good, buddy.